Welcome everyone back to the Alpha Racing League here. We are back for Season 3. It is Tier 1 back. The first time in Mexico. It's round 13 of the season out of the 15 rounds in the season. If you don't know me already, I'm PMBO5 and I am joined by Milo Gaming, my co-commentator. How are you doing?
Great, thank you. Good to be back again for the second time this weekend.
Weird to say that, you know? So what I want to go over is, just quickly, I want to speak about this time last season. Such Jay was making his first start, and this time last season it was Belgium on that Mexico race weekend. For Tier 2, Tier 3, it was Mexico for them. But for Tier 1, it was Belgium because Tier 1 tried to find a spot. The driver tried to find a spot to get Belgium in. Mexico was the choice. They were like, Mexico's so bad, this and that. And then they kind of got that in, I guess. They kind of forced a vote. Well, not, I wouldn't say forced, but helped get a vote done for their tier. And, yeah. You may see a little bit of a delay in the start of the lobby because, of course, I want to explain the story before anyone's like, oh, you were late, you were late. So basically, I was talking to you before, and I always have, like, it's not like an Ethernet cable, but it's like a little, like, I don't know what I want to call it, but it's just like the thing you plug in the back of your Xbox. I do it for my mic, and the thing is, I was messing, I'd just say messing. I was just kind of pushing my Xbox back just a little bit because it was kind of close to my TV. And let's just say it falls over or something, right? I was kind of pushing it back. And when I did so, one of the wires came loose and it disconnected my Xbox. I didn't even realize that till like 2, 3, well, not 2, 3, but like 4 or 5 minutes later. And that's kind of where that came from. So you may see this session, of course, or the race end like 2, 3, 4 minutes later than usual. That's when the lobby got started. But yeah, quickly want to go over some stuff. There's no first starts in this race. There's no penalties there's no penalties to be served, but I want to go through some of the reserves and some of the other drivers. Tony's son here is coming off an ABS Tier 2 championship that he just won this week, and he's got some momentum. He's the only reserve racing today, and that's for John. John did announce that this will probably be his last full-time season in ARL, and it's going to have to come at some point. He's going to have a final full-time start in the next few weeks. Unless, depending on what things happen with lockdown, COVID, whatever, he will be will be part-time as a team leader in a reserve, which will suck, but that's just the way it goes. You also have Brugorgan back after the pedals issue he had. Adolf Master was replacing him. Brugorgan got new pedals, got them fixed, got everything working fine. He's back for this week. And just praying for no pedal issues or anything else to happen on the racetrack. You know, we don't want to see people have issues with their wheel and then it causes a safety car or whatever it may be. I know, if you know, you know. I'm not exactly a wheel, but, you know, people having issues with their stuff and then kind of, you know, causing trouble with it, you could say. But regardless of that, let's talk about the F1 race quickly, Milo, before I get into this. The F1 race today, I think today showed, and we don't really have much else to talk about before we get into points, but I want to talk about it. The F1 race today kind of really showed why Turkey should be on the calendar for next year. Hamilton, why he deserves 7 championships. Sometimes he may get lucky, but not as lucky as people may claim. He is very lucky. He's the luckiest driver in the grid, but some people kind of say, oh yeah, he's the luckiest driver ever. Maybe not, but... And I think Perez also showed as well why he deserved a Red Bull spot. Heartbreak for Leclerc, heartbreak for Stroll, heartbreak for Verstappen, Albon, and Vettel on the podium.
Yeah, it was a grand, massive return to Turkey, and it delivered. It certainly delivered. And just thinking about that TBC spot on next season's calendar, I've kind of joked around recently and said, whatever that TBC is, get it on the ARL calendar, because it's going to be a mystery for the F1 2021 game. And it's strongly rumoured to be, well, they're looking to replace it with an Asian or near Asian race. So Turkey and Malaysia are actually really strong candidates. So
yeah,
that'd be awesome. Come on.
As much as I prefer Malaysia, Turkey today kind of delivered as well. And I think Malaysia, you know, at that point, I know it sounds dumb to say, but you're kind of guaranteed a rain race at that point every year, right? I mean, can't you say that?
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, you're almost guaranteed at least some rain. And then Turkey kind of was a surprise that it was raining. But I'll be honest with you. I said this to, I believe it was John, and a few others. and Kagoda and the other people I watch F1 with and stuff like that, I said, hey, I don't care if they're boring races for the rest of the year. I just want a damn rain race again. You know, that's all I want. And we got it. I was happy with that, and I just think Polo invalidated through the final corner or final sector there. Typical. No, I'm joking. But let's go through the points, because this is a crucial thing to bring up, Milo, at this point of the season. Oh, actually, no. Let me go over Tier 2 and Tier 3 first. Forgot about that. But hey, it's okay. We forget about things. Regardless, Tier 2 and Tier 3. Tier 3, you commentated the 100th ever ARL race. Bennett on the podium again in third. Heartbreak somewhat for the Racing Point boys, who probably could have had a better result. And I'd also say heartbreak for Hissy, who probably could have had that win and should have had that win. But it was Squid Jr. in the end, winning his second race in ARL.
It was so close for Hissy, but what I like about him is that he doesn't care. He just moves on. He just puts it behind him and tries to go again. He was so close. You know, it hurts to kind of say. It was a bit like Stroll, for example. You know, he's leading for the first part of the race. He's technically quite close to his first win, but it just didn't happen. But yeah,
and you could say Perez with wins too.
Yeah, exactly.
And with podiums, Hulkenberg, it's kind of that close. It's just ever so close.
Squid Jr. though, with no penalties throughout the race, that's what gave him the victory, and ultimately that was a fantastic drive for the AlphaTauri driver. Meanwhile, McLaren secured the Tier 3 Constructors' Championship, so congratulations to them.
Speaking about another Constructors' Championship, Combined Constructors, though, has been clinched. It's McLaren.
Was it?
They clinched it after the Tier 2 race. Good day for McLaren in Tier 2, on the other hand. Good day for them. How about their performances? First place finish, and it's probably going to be a third place finish. Depending on what I was offered to happen with Rapalucas' timing glitch in Tier 2 he had. Regardless, let's speak about the race again a little bit. AMS Rain was up there. Sam was up there. There was many people up there contending for the race win. X-Pilo, I mean, he has proved ever since he came back to this league and ever since he's returned that he deserves to give a shout out just in general, because of what he's done, because of what he's really just done as a whole. He's really just attempted a lot, and he's made it work. He's scored a decent amount of points, done well, not really having as much bad luck. He's just had it. As well as Matty Muma, who's won 3 of the last 4 races. 11 points will separate Atlantis and him in the championship. This championship gets ever so closer heading into America next week. All I gotta say is hopefully there's no Mercedes on track in the next 2 weeks near these McLaren boys, because that's the only thing that could stop them. If you were there last season, you would know. And on another side note, how about Beatnik on his return, second place, and now he's got a full-time drive with Renault due to AMS Rain leaving for the end of the season. Gonna take a break. How about that for him? That's kind of impressive, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, when I saw him out in qualifying, I wasn't really looking who was in the session at the time, because I can't lie, I was eating some food. But then I saw Beatnik on the track in qualifying, and that kind of brought a smile to my face, because we go back well over a year now, and I haven't really spoken to him in a while, so it was great to see him back and on the pace immediately. Yeah, it was so good to see that from him, and I do hope he succeeds in the final couple of races with Renault.
I would love to see that. I mean, it kind of at least gets it to the point where still got competitive driver taking over a competitive driver spot. AMS Rain gonna take a little break, they said. I spoke to him on why he left. He said, hey, I'm taking a break. I've just been frustrated with things, and that's completely understandable. I couldn't accept that. Does suck, though, because he's not had the best few races. I know people have kind of called him out on some of the things he's done and say, hey, you kind of need to not do that. That's a bit, well, you can call it rubbish. With some of the driving at times, and, I mean, that's happened before in Tier 2 with many people, but sometimes people get on him more than others about it, I'd say. But Tier 1 point standings. Milo, the championship can be clinched today. Let's talk about it. First off, I'm going to go through the Constructors' Championship, which can be clinched today, in fact. Williams, 16 points ahead. But what Williams can do, though, is make sure McLaren and Red Bull after today are out of the fight. And it's going to be down to Williams and Alfa Romeo in the next 2 rounds. Well, that's what they can do. They're going to have to do a lot to do that, but it still can happen. They are at least 60 plus, or almost 60 plus almost points. I'll put it that way. 60-ish points ahead of Red Bull and McLaren. They need to be 90 points ahead at the end of this race if they want to have a chance to have Red Bull and McLaren out of the fight and not in contention. Alfa Romeo as well, 16 points behind. That championship, on the other hand, Milo, is close and is going to be a good fight. It should be interesting to see what those guys can do down at Williams and Alfa Romeo. And even if McLaren or Red Bull could come back and at least overtake Alfa Romeo in the final races.
Well, yeah, we know what potential McLaren have today to get a good result, especially by the looks of the qualifying session so far. And you know, Pluto's taken 2 race wins, Speedy Midget 1, so yeah, it can really play into their favour today to claw back some points and stay in the championship hunt. So yeah, it will be tough for Williams. Alfa Romeo, on the other hand, again, have been fantastic in recent qualifying sessions and will keep Williams on their toes.
And then speaking about the Drivers' Championship, I think this is more interesting to bring up. Jack, to knock Paulo out of contention today, he needs to score 3 more points than Paulo. Even if they're tied at the end of the season by Jack winning it and Paulo on 0 points to him, Jack would get it because of the tiebreaker with him having 5 wins already on the season. 5 wins. And keep in mind how important those pole points are for Jack because he's got, I think, 6 of them. Yes, he has. He's got 6 of them. 6 pole points this season. And that's going to be important for him to get another one. He's on pole as of right now, but needs to knock Paulo out by outscoring him by 3 points. Simple 3 points. Outscoring, though, on the other hand. Oh, Scratty Rat, I just seen him crash out of the session. That's out of turn 4. Accelerated a little bit too early. He's not going to probably... Well, he's probably not going to be in the top 10 by the end of this thing. But regardless, Jack ahead of Cobra. Jack, I think it's 17 Cobra by at the end of the day. If he beats him by 17 points, Jack's clinched the championship, which is very hard to do. But with the way the performances has been compared to Jack and Cobra, Cobra with the 4th place finish last week, Jack with the win, with the pole point, that was 14 more points. So it is possible. And especially as well with Paulo, Jack's always been outscoring Paulo in the last recent weeks. So it's probably going to happen again. Yeah,
and the great thing about Jack recently is that since Spain, he's picked himself up, absolutely smashed it out of the park in Singapore in terms of dominance, and he's on provisional pole at the moment and could claim his 7th pole of the season, which is just quite insane, really.
Thinking back to last season in Tier 1, we had 9 different pole winners. But the thing is, we only had 4 different race winners. This season, we've had 5 different pole winners. And, 6 different pole winners and 6 different race winners. Interesting to think.
Nice competitive balance there.
Yeah. I mean, you think back to last season, people could claim and people could agree, hey, the races last season were very boring at times. When you see Boker out front the way he was, or Razone up there, or Cobra when they were just all up there. Get to claim the race was boring. Well, ooh, and Speedy Midget up to the pole.
Ooh, hello.
That could get interesting. But I bring it up because last season's races were not the best. They were pretty boring, if I'm being honest. Not the most boring, but they were boring. And the qualifying sessions, it seemed last season, weren't always as close as like this session may be, where you have every single driver within a second. They were more like the gap between pole and the 1-lap pace was very competitive. It may have not been like, 10 different drivers here, 10 different drivers, getting this close and that close, but it still was close, to say the least. But Jack gonna come out of the final corner, gonna start a lap. You also have as well V2 Combat and Brew Gorgon. Both Renaults gonna start a lap on their final flying laps. There's an Alfa Romeo coming to the line. That should be F1 driver. He's gonna start a lap. In fact, the final lap for him, the Haas driver, that should be Sam Cole. Gonna start a lap too. He should be able to get that in. As well as the Renault driver of V2, he's gonna get this lap in for sure. The Mercedes driver of Tax, that is, gonna try to improve and gonna start actually another lap here. Behind that, there's the Red Bull. That's FRA Cobra in 11th place right now as we stand. He has struggled. He's not gonna go any faster. He's not gonna improve. Kagoda, though, up to 8th. Behind that, ABS driver, I think, is complete the checker flag. No, that's Such up to second, though. He improves, while his teammate is down to 7th, who has actually invalidated his lap time.
Yeah, I think he was on a good one as well there, ABS Jarv, who comes into this one with a lot of confidence.
Jab 2/10 up. Where can he go? He cannot go any faster. I think he invalidated the Red Bull driver as well. FRA Cobra, or that was just Sade, staying where he's at. But you have the last sector here between the AlphaTauri. Jack as well, who's 3/10 up. Can it be another Jack pole position? It's his 7th pole. Behind that, who can stop that? Who can say something? F1 driver. He can only go to the front row, and that is so close to that pole position. But it's only a front row.
6th for
Brute Gorgon up to
those
6th
return.
as well.
Nicely done.
Not bad. V2 Combat out. Tax as well. He's on a final lap as well. He's actually going to go up to the top 15.
Oh, V2.
Well, your championship contenders, on the other hand, V2 probably might be disqualified here, but your championship contenders here, on the other hand, though, this is where they stand. Jack on pole, Paulo 5th, and you have FRA Cobra down in 14th.
Yeah, I was on board with Cobra there for that final lap. There was a lock, well, for some of the final lap, I'll be honest, but there was a lock-up at turn 1, there was a lock-up into the stadium section, he ran wide at the final corner. Overall, that just wasn't a good lap. But every single driver has qualified on the soft tyres.
Speaking of that, besides V2 Combat being disqualified, every single driver in that top 18 has qualified within 8 to 9 tenths of the race leader. So, with that being said, here's your qualifying order. Jack and F1 driver, the front row. It seemed these guys are very familiar with being on the front row, or even the pole position this season. Speedy Midget, Such J. Paul around at the top 10. Not bad from Brute Gorgon, not bad from Kyle SO2, as well as Jarv in the top 10. They've gained a lot of speed through the past few weeks, but outside the top 10 is Pluto, Tax, Cobra, and I also want to say V2 too, because V2 did have a lot of penalties here in GSR Mexico, but did have a decent amount of pace, which, you know, penalties are going to play a big difference, which is why I mentioned him. He's kind of known in Tier 1 for getting a decent amount of penalties every single race. Penalties are going to be a big difference here. He starts from 20th.
Yeah, watch out for the lights out as well, because with F1 driver in second, he may be able to tuck behind Jack and take the lead into turn 1 with a super long and wide straight that promotes this sort of action.
Has Lewis Hamilton signed a contract with Petronas FC?
Yeah, some fake football news while nothing else in, you know.
Yeah. I may as well go to the NASCAR news chat and provide some fake news there too.
Go ahead.
I'll do it after the race. Regardless, though, like you mentioned, watch out for, of course, you mention it, the run down to turn 1. We've seen many years past 2018 change the difference, really, of who was going to lead. 2019, Verstappen and Hamilton, they in fact collided at turn 1 to 3, and Hamilton still ended up winning the race. I mean, you've heard that a lot, but he still ended up winning the race from it. And I also want to mention the fact is, too, the difference in strategy here. The difference in strategy may play a big difference in this race. Well, here's our favorites. Starting on the soft tire, outside the top 10. Everyone else is on the medium. Starting on the softs is Scratty Rat, Jab, and Just Say It. So interesting strategies from them. The rest of the guys on the medium compound tire. Here's my favorites from this race. I'm going to go here. Well, what about Kyle SO2 here in 8th? He's actually had decent pace in the past 2 weeks. Look at Belgium. Look at Spain. Look at this week. Or, sorry, last week is Singapore. Running in the top 10, progressing throughout the Tier 1 season. That's something we've not seen from him. Last season in Tier 2, this is where he made his first ever start in this league. Didn't have the best race there. Ended up DNFing, if I'm correct, and retiring from the race. But Kyle SO2, him and Jarv collided last week. They start nearing one another. But the thing is, those guys have improved their pace, have had a ton of pace. So those guys are definitely going to need to do something interesting here to get themselves up on the grid. And I'm also going to go with Brute Gorgon here in 6th. Fix pedals, fix wheels, everything else. This may have got him an opportunity to improve his pace and score his best finish of the season. Renault, on the other hand, only have 10 points in the Constructors. That's basically, altogether, not a finish better than 5th. Brute Gorgon, qualifies 6th today, and I think he can improve on that. Depending on how he does, he's been known for kind of bottling it in good positions, but he cannot do that today if he wants to score points.
I'm going to go
Your favorites.
for Cobra here. He's 14th on the grid to start this race, and he goes on the medium tyres, so we may see a one-stop strategy for him to try and get himself back into the points and avoid that championship being clinched by Jack today. Oh, I've got to squeeze one in quickly here. Time's against me. Oh, let's go for Sam Cole. He was on the podium last week after a strategy that worked in his favour with the safety car. Yeah, I don't have time. Sorry.
Just want to say quickly, watch out for the guys in the top 5. They've had a lot of pace. They qualify near one another. The 5 red lights are coming upon us here in Mexico. We've never raced here before in Tier 1. It was Belgium last season, but this season, it's going to be Mexico. The 5 red lights come upon us, just waiting for the drivers to rev it up for the lights out. Waiting a long time here on the grid, but that's not kept us distracted. The overtake button engaged for Jack. They rev it up for the 5 red lights upon us here in Mexico. It's lights out, away we go. The slipstream will matter in turn 1 because F1 driver is going to be side by side with Jack, getting a little bit of wheel spin off the line. But Jack, slats down to the inside line where F1 driver is, while Speedy Midget and Such Day, they're going to go wheel to wheel. Not any crashing, but Jack, they keep it 3 wide for the race lead. Jack taking the race lead already, keeping it. And now Speedy Midget has got himself into 2nd place, while F1 driver barges his way through and almost spins out of the corner, while you have Kyle SO2 has gained traction up to 5th place as well. Such J as well, he still stays 4th. Polo and Brute fell back a few positions as well as Sam Cole, but Speedy Midget and F1 driver side by side for 2nd place right now, almost wheel banging, going off the track as well as Polo. Same with Speedy Midget and ABS driver and Pluto, they're side by side for a moment as well. And there goes Brute Gorgon spinning around though.
Oh, they're
side by side into the S's. Speedy Midget gets ahead.
Well, that's given Jack a 2-second lead on that one. Now Such J coming through on F1 driver.
So close and almost touching between the two. F1 driver gets ahead. Kyle SO2, the Tier 1 rookie of the season you could possibly claim. Right now, Polo is on the back of him, and Kyle SO2 has got himself ahead, and Kagoda picks up a penalty, while Sam Cole, that is, down the running order, and has spun at the last corner, while Jack leads the first lap of this race.
Oh dear, there may have been an accidental curse in there. But in terms of the championship, Cobra still in 14th. Polo got back through on Kyle SO2.
Third place in this race. Such J side by side with F1 driver. F1 driver tends to lock up right there, but that's not gonna hurt him too much, F1 driver, because he's actually gonna stay ahead. And you have Scratty Rat getting by Tax as well. Tony Sun picking up a penalty, and the 2 teammates of Red Bull, Just Tate and Cobra. Cobra gets ahead, and if these 2 teammates want to play it safe and keep themselves at the constructors' fight, they need to do a lot in this race, because right now they're outside the points.
Yeah, still a 2-second lead for Jack, because Speedy Midget has now got outside of the DRS range of F1 drivers, so he can start to think about the battle in front. And there's been a lot of jokes from Speedy Midget about that incident back in Spain, and I'm sure he really wants this to go for Jack.
I mean, he's catching him now, but considering they were battling earlier, they didn't help one another. And look at the gap, 1.5 seconds. Ricochet, a 3-second time penalty for him. But if Jack maintains position, holds where he's at, he'd win the championship right now. But look at the gap, and look at the fastest lap difference between Speedy Midget and Jack. That's a whole 5/10 difference in the lap. And look at the top 3. Speedy Midget, F1 driver, and then you have Jack, the 3 fastest on the racetrack right now. And behind that, Just Sade, Axe, they're all coming in, I've at least assume, front wing damage. Just Sade putting on the mediums, Ricochet putting on the hards, Axe as well going to put on the hards if I'm correct. Yes, he is. He's going to repair some front wing, while Cobra actually picks up a penalty. That's not very usual from him. He is currently running outside the points. He's down in 13th while that stands. How many more points does Jack need to win? Well, he needs to outscore Cobra by 17 points today, which is still very likely from the way the order stands right now. And then you need as well for Jack with Polo. Jack needs to outscore Polo by 3 points. If they tie at the end of the season, Jack automatically is going to win that tiebreaker based off the wins. It's not going to go off the podiums. But what I realized, though, is we have a battle. ABS Jarv and GSR Pluto. ABS Jarv on the back of Pluto, trying to go on the outside here. This is into Sector 3. They come tight right there. But ABS Jarv around the inside right here. Switching back is Pluto. But ABS Jarv, though, staying in for the time being. And he gets that position. But what I was going to say, the scary thing about Tier 1 this season is the fact, look at the podiums between Pluto, Cobra, and Jack. Jack has one more podium than Polo. Polo has one more podium than Cobra. That's very scary to think, especially with where they're at in the championship. Well, here comes GSR Pluto, and they're about to go 3 wide with ABS Jarv as well, with Kagoda around the outside. They make contact. Jarv almost goes around, but Kagoda comes back into him, makes some contact. Scratty Rat as well slides into him around the outside while the race lead stays at 1.4.
Kagoda was struggling there as well for traction. And funnily enough, Kagoda actually saved Jarv from spinning there on the exit of the corner, using his little cushion to get back in a straight line. But 3 wide at turn 1, yeah, we might see some more of that, especially with the safety car later into this race.
I mean, we as well saw last season 4 wide into turn 1 in Tier 2. You may remember that. You may have had a front row seat for that. So it's happened before, and it may happen again. We've seen 3 wide, so Rick's out like that. Ricochet gets by Axe as well. That's down to 19th place in this race. 1.2 the gap is between the race lead. Speedy Midget is ever so close to DRS, but keep in mind where the detection point is. It's before the final corner, so you need to make sure you're within a second by that final corner, at least before it, in order to make sure you're within DRS range of that race leader or whoever you may be battling. Because right now, Polo sails past Kyle SO2. That's for a top 5 spot. And where Alfa Romeo run right now, that'd be the same amount of points I think Jack would be on. No, 1 less because of the pole point. But yeah, there you go. Kyle SO2 as well. His faster lap is faster than the 2 guys in front of him, which is Such J and Polo God. His laps are as well faster than the guys behind him as well. So he's lapping very fast, Kyle SO2, and he's keeping himself in a very good position at the same track he made his first start in ARL history, while Scratty Rat ABS Jarv has a little bit of trouble, and there goes Jab and Pluto off the track. I think Pluto kind of got an AI to clip that.
I've seen 2 cars go off into the wall yet alone 1. So, interesting.
Some penalties being picked up right there. V2, Tony's son. Now, does Pluto have some damage here? I think he does. I know Jab may, but that was all caused by something with Scratty Rat and Jarv right there. Whatever happened in front of them caused that whole situation, while Pluto already has damage. So this isn't helping McLaren as well if they want to keep themselves in the Constructors' fight for Tier 1. Probably one of the only tiers that they're not going to win in the Constructors' Championship. For 8th place, Kagoda and Scratty Rat. These 2 are TSRL rivals in Tier 7, in fact. Kyle SO2 picking up a penalty. But yeah, Scratty Rat keeping himself in front of Kagoda right now for 8th place. And the 2 Mercedes drivers kind of following suit right here, while Cobra stays right behind them. This is for a points position. But what is very key in this race, and what may have played the difference in yesterday's race, was safety cars and VSCs. Softs to hards won the race. Hards to mediums won the race in both races yesterday. Now, Such J has picked up a penalty. Now, most of these guys in the mediums are, I'm assuming, probably going for the 1 stop. I'd be assuming the guys on softs are either going to go softs to hards or soft mediums mediums. What strategy will work best, Milo? What did you notice after yesterday's race?
No, a lot of state. I think both could work just as well here. Mediums to hards. Hards are a good race tyre. They can go very long with the right driving style. It's hard. Personally, I prefer the 1 stop. I do not like the softer compounds. Yeah. They overheat more.
Yeah.
They wear more. It's hard to keep them going for longer. So personally, I prefer the 1 stop. But yeah, who knows?
it seemed like as well, I don't know who said this, someone said this, I don't remember who, they had said, and you see the gap between the race leaders now very much closer than it was before, but if you're like a faster driver, if you're maybe like Bennett's tier 3 pace compared to the rest of the field, you may be able to pull that off very, very well. But safety cars come into play, VSCs come into play, all those come into play to help you save tire length, tire wear, whatever it may be. Just helps you save more. And I think the two-stop would work if that's the case. And in the new DRS zone, Speedy Midget has got himself some DRS on Jack. That's something we haven't mentioned at all this weekend. He goes into the wall with the rear of the car and has picked up a penalty from that. I'm assuming that definitely will be a controversial one because that's his first penalty of this race. Yeah, there you go. 3 warnings. Get you a penalty. Scratty Rat as well. 3-second penalty for him. I mean, that 3-second penalty is going to come into play at the end. And did he just pick up a warning right there, Speedy Midget? No, he did not. I thought he did because he kind of cut the corner just a little bit there. May have been by 2 tires. Ricochet as well. 3-second time. Oh, my God. Ricochet, 3-second time penalty for him. He runs outside the points as well right now.
Yeah, plumb last. I think he's picked up a few penalties, in fact, and he had a decent qualifying. I think he started 11th or close to that area, so he could have been on for a good strategy today, maybe a good points haul by the end of it, but sadly, it's not to be at the moment.
Well, right now, you could tell Jack is struggling on pace compared to Speedy Midget, but Speedy Midget is struggling more on the penalty side. What's worse here, Milo? Struggling more on the pace side or struggling more on the penalty side? Because right now, Speedy Midget just picked up his first penalty, and right there, I think that's another warning. That's not. That's actually not. That's not a warning. Wow. Well, pitting his F1 driver, but the gap between the race lead is getting ever so close and much closer this time. It is Speedy Midget behind Jack, and Jack trying to defend on the inside line while Speedy Midget goes around the outside line. Speedy Midget has got this race lead.
Fantastic move there. These guys will be thinking about a pit stop soon, so they don't want to lose too much time and risk a very small... an undercut won't happen realistically with the gap they're pulling away. They're in a class of their own at the moment. But Speedy Midget has had the pace ever since he cleared F1 driver and rightfully moves into the lead with a clean overtake.
And here comes Kagoda on Scratty Rat as well. This is for 7th. Can't do nothing there while his teammate is actually right in the back of him as well. Ricochet is out of the session. That is
pit lane.
In the pit lane right there. That's the first retirement in this race. I was going to mention it, but I kind of think I cursed it this time without saying it. That... you know, we could possibly go, as we're only going 8 laps so far, you know, you'd expect a retirement by now, but, yeah, I think I just kind of, I'm glad I didn't say that, but now that I'm saying that, I've already said it, so, yeah, I just thought that in my head. Regardless, Jack is coming in as the race leader. Cannot speed right there. Just say he's picked up a penalty. Locks up into the pit lane. And he's going to pit actually for the 2-stop, Jack is. That's what he's going for. Such Chase going for the 1-stop. From what I see here, what's Polo going to go for? What's Kyle SO2 going to go for? Jack going for the mediums. Such J going for the hards. Polo going for the mediums. So it's more the 2-stop with these guys preferred here. Kyle SO2 actually getting held in the pit lane, it looks like, by his teammate retiring. They weren't ready for him. And now look at, they're having this just scram right into the pit lane right there.
What a shame
and that was all caused. That was all caused by Ricochet retiring, and this is going to put him farther behind. This puts him behind Sam Cole. May put him behind Just Sade. After such a good run, his teammate retiring in the pit lane, a lot has changed there. Kagoda, I think, just let Ifray Cobra go there, unless Cobra just randomly overtook him, because the position is traded there.
Yeah, a few things like that have happened this season from memory where drivers just like pit near the pit window and it causes so many problems to other drivers exiting the pit lane, their teammates trying to have a pit stop. So yeah, maybe people just need to think about that a bit more. I'm not really targeting anyone, but yeah, it could be something to learn.
I know people were frustrated with F1 Boy when he retired in the pit lane because that caused things as well. I know you weren't the only one, if I'm correct. I know there was more than just you. A jar of pitting. There was more than just you. I think you were one of the only, well, not one of the only ones, but one of the people who kind of weren't happy about it, and I understand why, because that does kind of screw you over right there, that type of stuff. And Jarv pitting for the 2-stop this time, while Scratty Rat pits as well, so does Kagoda. Kagoda to the hards. That's a quite interesting strategy. You also have as well Such J and Pluto. Such J as well on the hards. Pluto yet to pit in this race. Well, you have Paulo got actually down the inside. They're going to go 3 wide into turn 1. They got to try to make it out alive before crashing into one another, while Paulo and Such keep it side by side for the time being, while Such almost goes into the grass. But Paulo gets ahead, with Pluto getting ahead as well.
Just one thing to mention on Jack. He came out in clean air, and, well, with Speedy Midget trying to go long here, it seems likely that Jack may make an undercut. The current gap is 20 seconds, and pit lane isn't that complicated or anything, so I think he needs to get a little bit closer to try and jump him, but he's got to get past Tony's son here.
Yeah, the reserve driver at Ferrari. I mean, DRS is definitely going to help him, right? But it's not really a very effective DRS zone.
I just pressed Y to try and open DRS. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yellow flag, that's at the back. That's a collision. Scratty Rat. It's the Renault as well. Brute Gorgon again. That's a VSC. Scratty Rat, Brute Gorgon, and that is, I think, Jab, who may have got a piece of that. No, that was just Sade who got involved.
Yeah, most people that have pit or haven't pit have passed the pit lane. Pluto is going to come in, though. It's quite a cheaper pit stop to, repair the front wing.
I don't even know what happened there, but that was just a cluster right there between those guys. Sam Cole as well, he's going to pit. I'd be assuming he's going to go hard to the rest of the race if he's pitting now, and yes, he is.
I really hope those guys didn't go 3 wide through the S section, because if so, oh my god.
If they did, they must be just... Oh, Tony's son slammed right on the brakes right there, and that's actually caused F1 driver to catch up to Jack here. They're actually on the same strategy, but keep in mind, Such J, Kagoda, and Axe are actually on a different strategy compared to these guys, and Jack is really getting held up here by Tony's son, the reserve driver. And I think Jack, right now, by now, he'd definitely be fuming, because it wouldn't be the first time reserve drivers have gotten his way or have had problems with him. Remember back to Spain, not the first time either. A lot of people as well, I know mainly tier 1 as well. Ooh, gets into the back of him. So does F1 driver. F1 driver goes through. The race leader, Speedy Midget pitting for hards. Jar picks up a penalty. So does someone else. But I was just gonna say, I know people usually complain and kind of bicker sometimes about reserves being in the way as well. And yeah, Paulo too. I know some people always complain about reserve drivers getting in the way, but here comes F1 driver actually down the inside of Tony's son, side by side between them. Tony's son getting ahead, F1 driver having to lock up right there, while Jack is trying to switch back right here, down to turn 4 this time. They may go 3 wide again. They got double DRS right there, down to turn 4. Here comes F1 driver to the right side. The reserve driver, Tony's son, fighting very hard as well. Gonna lock up F1 driver right there, but into turn 5, F1 driver's head. Jack's now ahead.
Sensible switchbacks from Jack.
I was just saying, reserve drivers are something a lot of people complain about, mainly in Tier 1, with reserve drivers getting in the way, whatever it may be. I know it's been a problem sometimes in some tiers, mainly the lower tiers this season, but I think that's one moment where Jack is like, damn, why'd you have to do that, you know? I think he's gotta be frustrated right now. And Paulo as well is on the back of Tony's son, too.
Yeah, they're there to prove a point. Like, if they yield and start pulling off the track, where's the fun in that for them? So
yeah,
I understand heat at the moment, that sort of stuff, but
right. I think people kind of look at it as like, oh, he's a reserve driver, he's on a full-time driver, he's fighting way too hard, but they're there to prove that they deserve a spot in the league and a spot in the tier. So that's the way I look at it. And Paulo is actually fighting on Tony's son. They're wheel to wheel. They actually are making contact right now. I think Paulo's going to go through. Has to kind of cut the corner right there. Axe actually gets a 3-second time penalty. That's down in 13th place in this race. But why I mentioned reserve drivers, you know, some may get in the way, some may not. Some may race you more harder than others. But it's different if a reserve driver takes you out, right? Then you have reason to complain or something like that. But when a reserve, I hear all the time, oh, reserve driver, this guy's holding me up, this and that. Well, They're there to race. They're there for a reason.
The
And I was
thing
gonna say
is,
as well.
no, go ahead.
Go. I'll go ahead. I was gonna say people also complain sometimes too that hey, he wrecked me, he did me unfair, you know, but then they don't submit a ticket about it, and it doesn't get classified as a penalty, so they wonder why it's not, you know. So that's kind of the way to put it, and I understand people as well, kind of holding up other drivers too as well. Sometimes saying, hey, you know, I'll hold you up a little bit, or I'll race you harder because, you know, my teammate or my other drivers are fighting with you, I guess, or whatever it may be. You know, that's a thing for a reason. But we got a battle between Jack and F1 driver. Jack for the net race lead. He's gone through. He's got it. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was just gonna say people think they're bad people, like
Yeah.
in terms of personalities, but they're really not. Most of them.
I've been a reserve driver in leagues. And the thing is, I race people aggressively. You know.
Good, as you should.
It's just my racing style. Yeah. Now, if I take someone out, though, I'm in the wrong for it. I'm in the wrong for it. Now, I know people such as when Pluto ran Tier 1 last season, I think he said this, don't quote me on it. I know other drivers have as well, like Atlantis being in Tier 2, running Tier 1 this season. And some drivers have said it where they feel like they don't belong in that tier, you know, and they're racing it. It does feel weird if you're a Tier 2 driver reserving for Tier 1 or a Tier 3 driver reserving for Tier 2. You kind of feel like you don't belong in the tier, and Jack, a little bit of oversteer right there. I just saw that on board, but some drivers, you know, if they're racing another tier, they're coming up to another tier, they don't feel they don't feel like they belong there, and that's reasonable to feel. But of course, if you're a reserve driver and you take someone out, that's different too. Now, a reserve driver racing someone hard, race them as hard as you want, and just don't break their wing or something like that, or do anything stupid. You know, I'll just put it that way. You know, fair enough, I guess.
5-way train for the provisional lead of the race, though, with Tax at the front of it.
Yeah, Tax the race leader, Cobra, and then behind is V2, Jack, F1 driver, in a tight battle. And Just Zaid, he picks up another penalty. I think that's his third or fourth penalty this race. He runs outside the points. Yeah, I think that's a fourth penalty. Definitely a third. Well, V2's kind of falling. Well, Cobra, sorry, has fell out of the race lead train, the race lead DRS, while V2's still in it. Jack's still in it. Jack picks up a penalty. That's his first penalty of the race. That's not gonna help him. Yeah, he lost it. And there you go. There's another one. F1 driver as well. So I think they may be equal on penalties, Jack and F1 driver. Jack, let's check his penalties. F1 driver, though. Yes, penalty for him. Penalty for F1 driver. Yeah, penalty for Jack, penalty for F1 driver. There you go. And pitting his FRA Cobra, pitting his V2 Combat. While Jack and F1 driver. Jack has the DRS. F1 driver does as well. Jack, though, on the other hand, is very, very, very low on the ERS when it comes to battling with other drivers. Look at his ERS. Kind of was below 10% for a moment there. It's not so good for Jack. Going to hards, though, is Cobra, V2, Tony Sun. So they're trying the one stop here, as they all, I believe if I'm correct, they all started outside the top 10 as ABS Jar picks up a 3-second time penalty. He actually runs 7th in this race. Not too bad, but keep in mind he's on the 2 stop. Really at a net P8 with Tax yet to pit. 7/10. Jack's gonna get some DRS here, but keep in mind Jack and F1 driver both have penalties. Let's do a quick penalty check for the net leaders. Jack, penalty. F1 driver, penalty. Polo, 2 warnings. Speedy Midget, penalty. Such J, penalty. ABS Jarv, 2 penalties. And Kagoda as well, penalty for him. So with that being said, then, Polo is the only one in that top 5-ish, top 7-ish, that doesn't have a penalty. Jack's going to get DRS. F1 driver's going to get DRS. Tax pits. He goes onto hards. He's going for the one stop as well, I'd be assuming. And teammates here at Racing Point. ABS Jarv and Such J. ABS Jarv sails past Such J. And look at the pace in that Racing Point from Jarv. Up to 5th. I know he's on a different strategy. But it... Again!
Oh my... Codemasters. We need to have a chat here.
Again.
Again.
Oh, that's gonna lag the lobby. I'm not gonna like that. Oh no. See, it happened to me for like the longest time every single week. Now it's happening to you. I guess the game put a damn curse on you, but here comes V2 Combat on the outside of Cobra. This is into turn 4, locking up as V2. Actually going into the side of Cobra is V2, picking up a penalty right there. And V2 Combat really fighting the championship contender of Cobra very hard there. And just saved 5-second penalty for him. And speeding, that's a rage. He's gone out of the race in the pit lane. Better place to retire than the actual track. 2 retirements in the pit lane already. And speaking of that, Jack set the fastest lap. Just did right there. 1:17.0 that lap is. Let's compare him to other drivers on this list. 1:17.2 for Speedy. 1:17.2 for Scratty Rat. Of course, he runs outside the points. And there's a yellow flag. That is Cobra. No, that's Just Say's car. I thought that was Cobra because he was just entering the front straight. Yeah, I thought that was Cobra for a minute, but it was Just Say's car. Coming back in front of the field almost. And that could have been very dangerous. While Such J gonna get some double DRS right here on ABS Jarv, his own teammate. And have you got back in?
I am in. I'm now spectating.
Cool. The lag is gonna be unreal, so I kind of feel bad that's happened. Oh, 2 times in a row. Let's ban you from hosting. No, I'm kidding. You know, I guess we know the game's got a curse on you now, and Kyle SO2 almost
like
colliding with V2 Combat. What'd you say?
It's like a virus. Goes from one person to another.
Yeah, it kind of is. Well, Axe's penalties, you asked me to check Florian Foley. 4 penalties for Axe. I want to check compared to V2, because I know V2, like I said, we know he picks up many penalties, but he's actually on only 2 penalties right now, which isn't bad, considering the fact he got disqualified in Austria. And XPLO brings up as we're halfway in the race, Scratty Rat, 10-second time penalty. Ooh, okay. Okay. Having a nice Sunday drive, I see. I don't know why he's cutting. Okay. A bit unprofessional, you'd say. Okay. I know Davis got penalized for doing that and on purpose in what's it called? In Singapore. Kyle SO2 has gone by V2 Combat as well. He's just cutting the whole track. I think he might retire in the pit lane this time. Scratty Rat, yep, he's coming into the pit lane. And yeah, I'd definitely be assuming retiring. Yeah, retired. Yeah, I get he wanted to go to the pit lane faster, but I don't think he needed to cut the track, though. That was a bit unnecessary.
That could have easily resulted in him being disqualified, crashing, and getting an even worse punishment out of it.
I mean, the reason, Squarey, I said a bit unprofessional, and I continued watching, but the thing is, what if he crashes out of the race on purpose? At least we have a clip of it in case, you know, we need it for stewarding. But here comes ABS Jarv as well, back on Such J. Such J kind of overtook him not too long ago, and here he comes, ABS Jarv, up to a top 5. Remember, Jarv's best finish, if I'm correct, this season has been 6th place, if I'm correct. 6th or 7th, one of the 2. But yeah. I know before, his points tally coming into the season, in all races that he's done, has been 3 points. This season, so far from the way that things have stand, he's scored 12 points. He's kind of quadrupled that. I'll put it that way. I think that's the right word to use.
You could argue he could have scored more last week.
Probably.
Really good pace at
Polo picks up his first penalty, so now all guys in the top 4, maybe top 6 as well, have picked up penalties.
F1 driver's getting close to Jack again. That gap opened, but now it's shrinking again. These guys do need to make another pit stop for another set of mediums. Maybe they'll go for softs, but I doubt that.
I doubt it too, but something crazy can happen. You never know. It's ARL. There could be a late race safety car. I'm just waiting for it to happen now, just as I said it. You know, but
bang, yellow flag.
Bang. Pluto, Sam Cole, Tony's son as well. Tony's son picking up a penalty. A little train forming back here. from Brookgorgon on back, from 13th on back. Not a bad battle. While you have SV Tax passing Kagoda. That's for 7th and 8th. Mercedes have not done too bad of a job here in the constructor standings. While they've gained a lot of points and kept their 5th spot in the last few races with the way things have stand. And I bring up Jarv again. Yeah, best finish previously. 7th at France earlier this season. Right now runs 5th. Almost, well, doubling that better finish. But he is bettering it. Axe picks up a 5th penalty, I believe that is, and you have the race leaders. 6/10 separate them. I think Speedy Midget may try to appeal that penalty too that he got. I'd be assuming, because it'd be a reasonable penalty to appeal, but
he's picked up a warning since then, though. That's probably going to be the problem with his appeal.
Yeah. Then there you go. Yellow flag.
Hello.
That is. Oh.
Who?
Just no one.
No one. Oh, it's Axe. He's lagged and.
Oh. Okay.
Something's happened. He's not in control or something.
Oh, front wing broken.
Front wing
He's got
damage.
his front wing broken. He's just going slower, kind of trying to get back to the pit lane. He's just trying to get back to the pit lane, I think, here. The race leaders, though, 4/10 separate them. Yeah, what's wrong with Axe here? And now he's left the session. I don't even think that was him controlling the car, and I'm kind of scared what the car is going to do. Make sure you get him back into the session, though, because that's Axe out of the session. Again, I speak about the race leaders, 6/10 between them. Let's check how they are in the lap times and the warnings. This will be important when it comes down to the finish of this race. Jack, penalty and warning. Well, that's just the penalty you got. F1 driver does have an extra warning for that. 1:17.3 is best lap was. Jack's best lap was a 1:17.0. So F1 driver a bit better on that pace. But the last 2 laps, a 7.7 for Jack, a 7.9 for Jack. Then you had F1 driver as well, a 7.6 and a 7.9. So that last lap was a bit worse. But a bit better on the other lap. And then this most recent lap, an 18.5 for F1 driver. Jack as well, an 18.5. So they're matching one another's pace right as things stand. And this is the help of DRS too. V2 Combat's picked up a penalty. Axe as well on softs coming out of the pit lane. I don't think that's him in control still. Well, you have Pluto, Sam Cole, Tony Sun as well running outside the points, but trying and hope for a safety car because we're 2/3 into this race. I gotta refresh my stream. It says error. For streaming is working now. Alright, well, cool. Good. Kagoda, still in a teammate battle for 7th and 8th. These two teammates, you know, at the start of the season, they had pace, but they were very inconsistent in the first half of the season. Tax with that win at France. But in the second half of the season, they're now both scoring points on a consistent basis. Usually it was one of the drivers scoring points.
Yeah.
While F1 driver is closing that gap now to Jack and may have just picked up a warning right there. I don't know. I'll have a check at that. But 7/10 again, we'll check their last laps again as Pluto gets by Sam Cole right there. Trading positions. But between the race leaders, 8/10 F1 driver coming in for another pit stop here. Locking up and almost speeding in the pit lane. Remember, these guys are on a 2-stop. Speedy Midget's on a 1-stop.
Yeah, so F1 driver is now going for the undercut. He may come out behind the racing points, but that will be him in clean air, where he can try and gain back some of that time. But remember, with Speedy Midget now committing to the 1-stop, they've got to get past him. He will inevitably go up into the lead. And
ABS driver's teammate will really go into a podium position here. With that being said, right now. Where Jack would come out, what would you say? A pit stop around here is probably 23, 22-ish seconds. So definitely around Tax, definitely around F1 driver, maybe around Kagoda. And Sam Cole has got by Pluto. He's clear of that position. He goes ahead.
Just thinking about it, Tax has only had those hards on for 6 laps. So
yeah, mediums to hards
come into play.
And I would assume Cobra would catch the back of this pack sometime soon as well. With that being said, positions gained in this race. Let's check that. I haven't really checked that too much. I know I want to check at least once a race, or at least at the start of the race. Kagoda picks up a penalty. Pitting is the race leader. 3 positions gained for Polo, 5 for Jarv, 6 for Tax, 5 for Cobra, and 9 for V2 Combat. And it's the front 2, Polo and Jack, into the pits. I'd be assuming here the medium tire. They may go bold. Polo going for the softs. Jack going for the softs. Now that is bold, but that may work. An F1 driver almost swipes into Jack as Jack comes out of the pit lane.
For? that was bizarre.
Cobra got himself out of Polo, and these two are on completely different strategies. Cobra, Tax, Kagoda, Such, and Speedy Midget won't have to pit the rest of this race as things stand. Jack comes out behind F1 driver, though, so Jack locking up right there. F1 driver's kind of outlap right there. It was really, really well. Cobra and Polo, this is a battle for 8th place. Cobra locking up. Polo trying to overtake here into turn 5. Polo switching back, though, on Cobra. Pinching his Cobra down to turn 6 to the double right-hander. Polo's got ahead. Jack with the help of DRS as well. Such J did pick up a penalty right there. Remember, those guys, oh, yeah, that was close. Purple Sector 2, though. People such as, Such J, Speedy Midget, Tax, Kagoda, Cobra, they're all committing to the one stop, and they should be able to do fine here. Keep in mind, Jarv has to pit, and he is doing so now.
Fastest lap for
Jack,
F1
purple.
driver.
Yeah, well, that happens. Jack's got a purple Sector 3, and it's now overtaking F1 driver. Here comes Jack on F1 driver. Jack's gone through, and now he's got to get to Speedy Midget for this race victory.
Oh, and locks up in the first corner. Doesn't cost him that much.
ABS Driver's gonna come out around this pack, which is just inside the points now, as Sam Cole overtakes him. That's now a battle for inside the points, while Jack and Such J actually going wheel to wheel here, right here. Such J touches with Jack and almost goes around. So now it's Such J interfering with Jack and F1 driver, and Jack with the aggressive two-stop strategy. Where he's at compared to Speedy Midget, it's going to be close. 7.2, he's really gaining that gap and doing everything he can, being very aggressive, trying to catch Speedy Midget. And look who that is. The Ghosted Carvax maybe going to give him DRS here. Not right now. Definitely not down to turn 4 because that's a double DRS zone. But the teammate right there, going to maybe help. ABS Jarv on Sam Cole while Jack sets the fastest lap of the race. ABS Jarv goes by Sam Cole and has got that position very clearly and very cleanly. Check Jack's penalties will do as F1 driver does pass Such J. That's for a podium. Penalties here. Speedy Midget. Penalty and 2 warnings, that is. Jack. Penalty and 2 warnings. Oh boy. That could play a big difference. F1 driver, on the other hand, penalty and 2 warnings. Such J, 2 tax. He's got a penalty somewhere there with those invalidated lap times because that's a warning. Paulo has a penalty and a warning. Kagoda, 2 penalties for him. Well, I think that's 3. Cobra has a penalty for sure. Oh. V2.
Jack penalty.
4
got another penalty.
There you go. He was on 2 warnings. You look how aggressively he is pushing. The gap right there, 2 seconds he just cut out of that race lead. That is crucial if he wants to win this race, but now Speedy Midget can lose by 3 seconds and still win this race. Well, less than 3 seconds. We'll put it that way. Oh, Tax is off. Tax is off at the final corner.
Oh, no, what a shame.
Got it back going. Yeah, Tax kind of spins out right there. Kind of gives Apollo a free position from that, as well as Kagoda, as well as FRA Cobra, and he's now left the session. I was going to assume that, but I didn't want to assume. And here comes Pluto into the pits for soft tires. Couldn't make the hards the rest of the way, but someone who may not make the hards the rest of the way is definitely Such J25. 18 lap hards, same with Kagoda, 17 laps. Sam Cole as well, 16 laps. That's definitely a big difference there on the amount of laps they've done on those tires. Big difference. Speedy Midget has 15 laps. Those hards, although I'd say they can probably go 19 to 25 laps, if you're Such J, if you're Such J, if you're Kagoda, you're really pushing for a puncture there, though. Brew Gorgon picks up a penalty. I think Cobra also did as well a moment ago. Make sure you get Tax back in here. Make sure you as well get Axe back in here. Axe.
Yeah, I've given Tax a couple of invites.
Alrighty. He may be on Do Not Disturb, so...
Yeah, he is, so...
Yeah, he might not receive him then. Sam Cole's got by. That's for a points position. Tony Sun runs so close to a points position, speaking of that. But everything's really calmed down now. 2.3 between the race lead of Speedy Midget and Jack 2.3. And the different tires. Now, Speedy Midget is looking for redemption after Spain. He's facing the guy who spun out and costed him the win, which brought out a safety car. If you're Speedy Midget, you know, you think about that in your head. How aggressively do you race Jack thinking, hey, this is the same guy who caused the safety car and was racing with a broken controller and cost me a win. F1 driver with a penalty. Milo, if you were Jack, though, and if you're thinking of Jack right here, how do you race Speedy Midget?
Go for it on the straight and nothing else.
Such J and Polo. Such J diving back down the inside and actually touching, going off the track.
That's
Polo has to get that
way.
position back and has got damage.
Interesting line.
Very interesting line for sure. Bit aggressive there. Polo going into AI to clip that, I see. But yeah, if you're Jack, if you're Speed, well, hold up, we got a battle still in our hands. Polo and Such J trying to defend. Polo with the damage now. Polo's going around the outside, has got that position, and we'll have actually double DRS right here. So yeah, if you're Jack and you know Speedy Midget right here, if you know the situation he's in, you know how he's going to race him, what do you kind of do if you're Jack? And what do you kind of do if you're Speedy Midget? Thinking about back to the past. I know you don't want to reflect on the past, but it was only 2 weeks ago you think about it, and yeah.
Yeah, just go. It's not worth taking a risk and fighting through a sequence of slow speed, high speed corners. There's 3 DRS zones. Tax finally back in. Good to see, but it seems like his points chances are over.
Sam Cole gets ahead of V2 Combat as well, picking up another penalty. But you have the race leaders, Jack and Speedy Midget right here. Look at the gap and look at the speed and the momentum Jack has into turn 1 with the overtake button engaged. They're side by side for this race lead. Jack has gone ahead, but Speedy Midget coming right back at it. It's a drag race into turn 1. Jack's got ahead, but Speedy Midget is still trailing around the outside. Jack's got the race lead.
And that should
Double
be Jack.
DRS now.
Down and up the road now. Shouldn't really be looking back from here.
ABS Jarv goes by FRA Cobra.
Yes,
On the
so
new softs.
as it stands, Jack has clinched the championship.
Yes. Yes, he has. Sam Cole V2 as well. V2 getting back by. Sam Cole going off the racetrack for a moment. V2's got ahead right there. And ghosting inside of Axe's car is FRA Cobra. Axe still not back in the session. And you have ABS Jarv and Kagoda right here. Kind of 2X teammates if you think about it. Jarv was in the Tier 1 program in Mercedes last season. Kagoda was in the Tier 2. Kind of ex-teammates right here, you think about it. ABS Jarv trying around the outside. Gonna try to switch back here. It might be a perfect decision to do because he's now got the outside line for the next corner. Kind of gonna switch back right here. But I think Cobra was still right there. May have given him slight damage if he did. And gaps back to normal. While Kagoda losing traction out of the final corner. Here comes Jarv back at it. Overtake button engaged. Gonna have double DRS right here. It's a drag race still into turn 1 because Jarv has a little bit of lower ERS. But it's gonna be Jarv going ahead as Cobra.
Here comes Cobra, yeah.
As Kagoda as well. Cobra and Kagoda. Cobra around the outside right here, making contact almost. Cobra has gone ahead, and Jarv right now bettering his best result right now if he stays where he's at.
He might even still be after Such J at 25. He's still on those softs compared to Such's hard, so there may even be a position trade at Racing Point.
And I will also say too, not just Such J, Polo, too. He has damage.
Yellow.
Yellow flag. That is Brew Gorgon spun around. Thought we were going to get the late race safety car that I was speaking about, but you got to think it, you know. But it's the motto in this league, late race safety cars. How much more warnings does Jack have? Good question. Jack does not have any warnings after that penalty, so it's 6 seconds to the 3 seconds.
Which
Speedy Midget.
Which he's got out of. It's 3.2 now, and the gap is still growing. F1 driver hasn't been able to do much on the mediums, which has really surprised me. Went for the undercut on the medium tyres. Struggling to catch up to Speedy Midget now.
I think it was Brew Gorgon picking up a penalty. I can't remember. I'm just brain dead. I almost said Dame bread.
Nice.
Okay.
You know, it's okay.
It's okay. You've what? You cut out. Hello? Batteries. Okay. Well, here is Kyloso 2 actually making contact with Tony's son. Tax goes through as well. Kagoda and Cobra, that's still a battle to be looking forward to. And Milo's batteries have died. Okay. Jarv as well on Such J. This is going to be a battle onto the start-finish straight. Kagoda as well on Cobra. I'm going to invite Milo back to the party. Hopefully he can ask for one if, so he reminds me. But F1 driver as well. He's got that second penalty. And on those mediums, I'm surprised he's not doing any better than he was. He's definitely not going to beat Speedy Midget if he gets him on track. It's going to depend on that gap at the end. While ABS Jarv gets by Such J. You know, both racing points really doing well right here. Where they're at in the constructor standings, sitting 7th. They could possibly overtake Haas by the end of the season. Maybe Merck if they're really, really bold with what they do. So they got to try everything they can. As we are about to come to the final lap this time for a brand new champion in this league. It is 20 points the difference between Cobra and Jack today. That means the championship would be at 57 points by the end of this. Such J's got a puncture. There's the first of the punctures. Such J's got one. And he's now lost a position to Cobra. Such J lets Cobra go through. And he's got a left front puncture. He's on the 24 lap hards. So now the concern is for Kagoda. While Polo picks up a penalty and we reach the final lap. The next concern is for Kagoda. The next concern after that is for Speedy Midget. Make sure you make party invite only. Such J has got a puncture. Joins the puncture club while ABS Jarv is going to gain a polar penalty. ABS Jarv may be on for 4th place in this race. What a career result that would be for. With the penalties he's got, he's equal with Polo, so he's got to pass him. And with the way things are standing, 18 points between Cobra and as well Jack. 18 points would separate them, which would make Jack your new Tier 1 champion. ABS Jarv right in the back of Polo. Can't do nothing there. Kagoda still close as well. So now the concern is for Kagoda. Will his tires last? ABS Jarv and Polo going side by side. I think Polo has gone through there. But to the final sector. Fireworks and flames for Jack, as another champion in Tier 1 will be crowned. It's a 6th win of the season, but it's most importantly the first time for Jack winning the championship after coming 2nd in the ABS championship. He gets redemption. ABS Jarv down the inside of Polo. He goes through. He goes off the racetrack in doing so. Speedy Midget picks up 2nd. F1 driver as well, but Jarv could possibly be on for 4th. He's got it. He's going to get 4th. ABS Jarv, career best result for him. Wow. Yellow flags. That's on the front straight. Big crash. Your near 2-1 champion, Jack. And there's a bigger crash. So Kyloso 2 might pick up points with V2's penalties. He has. Oh, big crash. They're still crashing. Jab's going to come into this. Such J as well spun around with that puncture. Jab comes across the line as well, crashing into these guys, and it's a demolition derby at past the finish line. Yeah. Milo, make sure your audio is included. Tell me about it. Yes, yes. Yeah. Kind of new to this interview stuff here. Yeah. Such Jay with that last lap puncture. Gonna finish outside the points now, which puts Sam Cole, Kyla, so 2 into the points. Well, Jack, you're the new Tier 1 champion. Yep. Still can't hear Milo, Atlanta said. Let me see. No, I can't hear you through there. Tell me about it. Can everyone talk for a moment so I can make sure the stream could hear you guys? Because it's having problems. Can everyone talk for a moment so I can make sure the stream can hear you guys? Because it's having problems. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put my microphone up to the TV. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to do, because I can only hear you guys throughout the TV. So I'm gonna have to do that during interviews. But regardless, let me screenshot results quickly before I forget to do that. Can't forget to do that. Jack, though, let's talk to you. You're the brand new Tier 1 champion. And it must feel nice. You know, I mentioned it, second in the ABS championship. You could definitely call this redemption. And lost that one, but now you've won the championship in Mexico around the same time Boker did last season with 2 races to go.
Well, obviously that's a good feeling. Just keeping it consistent through the season. And just keeping it clean. I thought the softs were going to die out at the end, as I was on 70% tyres at the end of it, but I just had to just tyre conserve, and yeah, the season's been a good one.
Oh, there's a nice echo, by the way. Or who's my
PMB muted.
I don't know. Oh god.
Oh, Nelly.
Echo, is that you?
Alright, I'm kind of back. I had to do something quickly. Echoes, it says. Echoes.
Okay.
That's what it says now. Jack, can you talk through the stream just so I can make sure it can hear? Jack?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, again, good race from you. 6th win of the season. You got to enjoy it for sure. Every win matters. And now you're 1 win off the all-time win list, tying first, which has been Bennett, Boker, and Riles, who have 7 wins. You're only 1 win off that all-time win list now. What do you think?
A little bit of a debate from where I start from the grid or start last or was was in our favour. There's been a lot of up and down races, but ever since I missed Austria, it just spiraled upwards. So
Yeah, I don't really have much other questions for you. Congratulations on the championship. Congratulations on the 6th win of the season. Milo, do you have any other questions for Jack?
Yeah, I do. Have you heard those through the stream now?
yes,
Yes? Okay, good. Yeah, so Jack, congratulations on the championship. Obviously, there's been...
Oh, the echo's back.
Yeah, it's back. Yeah, there's obviously been a few champions crowned today. Obviously, a certain Lewis Hamilton in real life. A league racing championship is a lot different, though. Different. But what does it quite mean to you?
well, obviously joining midway through last season into ARL, I've kind of just seen how it goes because it was probably one of my first leagues which I joined, as that was back in F1 2019, and that season I was just kept running in between the midfield and the top 5-ish, so at the top of the midfield. And then with this game, I've just clicked with it and just felt really good with no traction and no line. No line. ABS off and traction off, and yeah, obviously I couldn't predict what would happen this season, but yeah, it's been a surprise that I've won the championship.
Yeah, and it's your, 6th win of the season. You've taken 2 back-to-back victories as well. The echo's making it very hard for me to talk, and I don't know why.
Sorry.
But which of those 6 wins has been the best for you?
What was that question again?
I said, which one of your 6 wins have been the best? God, I can't speak. Has been the best for you this season?
Which races did I win? Let me see. I'd say Hungary, as I didn't get the best of qualifying, and then I just had to do a mad stint on the mediums, which worked, which put me out P3, and then just worked my way through the field. So yeah, I really enjoyed that race.
And how do you approach the final 2 races now in USA and Brazil? Are you still focused on that Constructors' Championship? And what are your concerns with Axe, especially because he has said he's not going to be racing the final 2 rounds out of frustration?
Well, obviously with that happening, I'm just gonna have to just keep doing my thing and just get some points, as I just don't want to let down the team. Just get as most wins, points as possible, and just keep doing my thing.
Okay, thank you. The main chat. Okay, move on.
Oh, God, I've not seen. On to the second place finisher, Speedy Midget. Okay then. Okay. Speedy, another second place finish for you. You were leading on track. You pulled the one stop. It looked like it was gonna work, but didn't do so. I saw that one penalty you picked up into the last sector in the stadium section by the little slide you had. Talk to me about the penalty. Talk to me about the race. What could you have done different?
Well, yeah, to be honest, yesterday I didn't even think that the one stop would work. I was thinking that I'd puncture and all that, but I managed to get quite a good soft stint. It was a few slides. You saw at the castle section. The stadium section. Got a track limit penalty, and yeah, it's a good race.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I speak about the penalty and I speak about the race you had. You and F1 driver were so close to pole. Kind of talk to me about the final two races and what you were expecting toward then.
On the last two, the USA and Brazil.
Yes.
Thanks, Milo. Yeah, okay. Brazil, I like the track. I think I should be quite good there, not with pace, but just with stuff. I don't know. And USA, yeah, I don't know. It's quite hard for track limits, so I just have to be careful there. Yeah, it should be quite fun.
Congratulations on the second place finish. Milo, do you have any questions?
Yeah, with Polo slightly down the order, you gain on him in the championship for third place. Are you still targeting that at the end of the season?
That'd be great. Yeah, I mean, I've been in the best of the rest situation for pretty much the whole season. Now with Polo, I've just been about 6th and 5th with him. We've been quite a bit behind Jack, F1 driver, top guys. But yeah, Polo, I think he just had also a pretty good race today. I don't know what happened at the end with him and Java. It looked like a tight battle. But yeah, I think I've got up to him quite well. Hopefully Brazil and USA can give him a fight, see if I can beat him.
Well, congratulations on second. Milo, I'll let you interview F1 driver.
Another podium for F1 driver. It's a good comeback, especially from the Singapore race last weekend. Are you happy, and could you have done anything more? Edgy.
All right, moving on. ABS Jarv, are you there? It was not that time. ABS Jarv, 4th place finish, your best finish yet. Your previous best finish was 7th. Your previous points tally heading into the season was 3 points. You had 12 points into the season. Now you've doubled that with a 4th place finish. How awesome is that?
I mean, first I thought I had the wrong strategy because Louis told me that the parts really get answer. So then I was beaten in like lap 26, and I was like, I can't get a good result anymore. But then I went on a pretty good start and got P4, so I got to be happy because I haven't really been up in the top 5 before.
And yeah, best finish of the season, best finish yet. That's going to move you up in points. How happy are you about moving up in points like you are already? And like I said, your previous points tally into this season was 3 points previously that you had scored. It was all 10th place finishes. Now you've scored a 4th place finish, 1 spot short of the podium, as well as 24 points onto the season. How crazy is that for you?
I mean, I guess I've stopped bottling, so that gives me a lot of points, but I don't really care about being P13 or something like that, so I just want good results at the end of the season, like I think I did in season 2. I improved a lot in the end towards the end of the season.
And congratulations on the finish. That's a very good result for you. Milo, do you have any questions for your driver? ARG. Oh, I think I disconnected from the party. I did.
There he is.
Alive?
Yeah, I disconnected from the party. Yes.
Yeah, I
yes.
did that earlier. Nice. So Jarth, you've doubled your points tally just from today's race. um, you've become increasingly more confident in the previous few weeks. Is this the start of a more consistent period for you in terms of these finishes?
Include your audio, Jarv.
Oh God.
Oh dear.
Okay, fair enough. It does that.
Can you hear me now?
Maybe.
What
I-
clips, so.
I think.
Can you talk again?
Hello.
Pronto.
Okay, yeah.
Bronzo.
So you can hear me now.
Yes.
Okay. Do I have to
Maybe.
answer that question again, or?
Don't bother. Unless PMB wants you to.
What?
Do you want him to repeat what he said?
I think we all need him to repeat
Oh.
it.
Well,
Yeah.
everyone in the main
Voice.
chat is really liking the accent with the interview, so
I'm Finnish. I'm
Maybe.
Finnish. That's understandable. I'm Finnish. Like.
To finish the race, first you have to finish.
Finnish.
Wow.
not funny.
Brake tester should learn that.
Can I go?
Yeah, he should.
This is awful. This is awkward. Can I go?
I don't have any more questions, so
Yeah, I don't either. Congratulations on fourth. F1 driver, are you there?
Thanks.
G.
Yes.
Well,
Never mind.
Milo, let's kind of talk about that race quickly.
Yep.
As we head into USA. USA next week.
Oh.
Definitely. Oh.
Hello.
Oh.
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 Hi.
Hello.
Third place finish for you.
Yes.
How was the race for you?
Shit.
Make sure your audio's included again.
There's no other word to put it. No other way to put it. I had alright pace, but bad strategy call. I think when I put on mediums at the end, should have went on softs. But hey, yeah, it is what it is. Jack's now champion, which is an achievement and a half. Not gonna lie. Although some may say it was quite easy for him, I deny that, because there's been multiple occasions where people are faster than him, and he was just the most consistent out of everyone. I think he's got the most podiums this season as well, extending it in Mexico, so yeah.
Speaking of that result, you gain on your teammate. You stay fifth in the driver standings, but of course, like I said, you gain on your teammate a little bit. Still working on that. Not constructors. Well, yes, constructors. Sorry. Wow. You're still working on that constructors championship with the battle with Williams. How much are you looking forward to that in the final two races? Considering USA is a track you somewhat won at in season one, we'll put it that way. I'm not gonna go any farther.
Okay.
And Brazil as well,
Should've
where
caused a
last
safety
season you
car
took
on
a
screen.
podium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the last two races are not brilliant at, but hopefully I can do the same thing at Mexico. Just try and do damage limitation, and just try and score as many points as I can in the final few rounds.
Congratulations on the result.
GG.
Podium. That's awesome to see. Milo, do you have any questions for F1 X Driver X 2018 X?
X.
There's no X at the end, but good one.
I know.
You went on the mediums there in the final stint, whereas everyone
Yes.
else around you went for the softs.
Mhm.
Right or wrong decision?
Wrong. Just wrong in all sorts of ways of wrong. There's no other way to put it. Jack took 10 lap old softs easy to the end without too much pace being lost through tyre wear, so even with an undercut, I still think it would have been an easier way to the end of the race.
Yeah, sorry,
Well, again,
I'm done.
yeah, I was just making sure. Well, again, congratulations on podium. Yeah, Milo, let's kind of talk quickly about next week at USA. Could be an interesting one at USA. Kind of a home race for me to commentate. Good to see. Home race for a decent amount of drivers. What are you kind of looking forward to there the most?
I'm looking forward to the cake on Saturday, to be honest, as it will be my birthday. But besides that,
Yeah?
yeah, USA. When you're going from Mexico to USA with track limits, it's always very difficult. And one thing to improve on for many drivers in the week they've got leading up to it. Overall, the Tier 1 Constructors battle resumes. Williams still have the upper hand, but it'll be interesting to see with Axe looking to step down for the final couple of races. Will there be any sort of shift in momentum, or will Jack hold on? That is a very big question for Tier 1, and I hope we get some entertaining answers.
Hope so as well. Next week is USA. Next week is the United States Grand Prix. We go there for the second to last round of the season, the penultimate round of the season. It is round 14. And hope you enjoyed watching. Hope you enjoyed today's race. And catch you later.